Hi there. This is the Superpower Radio Show with your host, Brenda Major
Mia Dawson.
and Mia. This is our second Christmas show. I
Woo!
know.
My favorite time of the
Yeah, like most people know, we love Christmas. Both of our birthdays are in December. Your mom's birthday, Neo's birthday.
Neo's birthday. Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
yes.
we love Christmas. Now we know that there are people who don't really care that much about Christmas, but I hope you'll just bear with us because again, this is our Christmas show.
Yeah.
I should remind you guys that we are not experts. We are not clinicians or diagnosticians in autism,
Mhm.
but we do know that there are people with superpowers and we love them. And some people call them neurodiverse. We just call them people with superpowers. And we
Mhm.
also know that many of you who are watching and listening need some support and need some support even during the holidays, dealing
Oh
with
yes.
the challenges of the season, all the stimulation, um,
Mhm.
and just everything that goes along with the holiday season when you have super kids. And Mia, I was so struck recently by watching one of your Instagram posts on your Wednesday show
Oh
when
yeah.
you were talking about, how do you create Christmas memories with people who are superpower kids? Because, sometimes they don't really get it. So what's been your journey with that?
So I did that last Wednesday. I talked about when Neo was first, right after he's first diagnosed. So he had to be 3 or 4.
Mhm.
And it wasn't a good time because he didn't understand it. He had no language. I was completely devastated because I was decorating and had all this stuff and I wanted to do Christmas cookies and he was looking at me like, lady, I want my oatmeal. Because that's what he and I put a picture on social media with him eating that oatmeal and I was so upset. And I remember it being like really, really quiet because Stefan, our family is from Decatur. That's where we were born and raised. So he would go back to Decatur to visit his family, and I just stayed. It was just a bad situation. My
Mhm.
parents would come. My parents would come and visit. Um, and I just didn't enjoy it because he wasn't enjoying it, and because he didn't have any language. And so what I tried to do was dress him in Christmas outfits.
Mhm.
I remember we took one picture one year, and he had a Christmas hat on. He let us do that. I was so excited. Um, I would turn Christmas movies on that I like. He could care less, and I was so upset. The he didn't care about the tree, and actually the lights for a little bit was overstimulating. So I could have
Oh,
the
could
tree,
be, yeah.
but the lights were bothering him. So I was like, is this gonna be my life? Didn't really understand it was his birthday. So it was not that in the beginning, yeah, it wasn't good because I had all these dreams and hopes of what my Christmas was gonna look like with my kid, and it didn't pan out that way.
Hmm. Was there a point at which he started to really, kind of engage more? Because I
He
know your kid loves birthdays now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Once it's almost like it clicked, and I
Hmm.
can't even remember. I'm gonna probably say, once that little Isaiah, my youngest, once he kind of came into the mix, into the fold, it
Hmm.
was even more. Because he still even it took a minute. But once Isaiah got involved and Isaiah was excited, and then Isaiah was like,
Hmm.
"You gotta get excited, and it's Christmas, and we're gonna get the," and that sort of engaged him more. And you're right about birthdays. He's obsessed with everybody's birthday. He wants to
Oh yeah.
celebrate everybody's birthday. He wants to call them. He wants to tell them happy birthday. He's
Oh
obsessed
yeah.
with birthdays.
I have to tell you, my birthday was Monday. Um,
Yes.
and Neo, he came into my classroom and he said, Miss Bunny, it's your birthday. And the kids in the class, man, they didn't even look up. They were doing math and they were like, they didn't even say happy birthday. And he's like, happy birthday. He gave me that big hug, that bone rattling hug. And I was like, that makes people, oh, okay, fine. Well, at least I got it from him. Girl, then look, middle of the day, he's coming down the hall and he says, Miss Bunny, you know what today is. And so he came down and running down the hall and he hugged me again. And then when the after school kids came and we were practicing for the Christmas program, and we were in the classroom, and he came in and he said, "Everybody, it's Miss Bunny's birthday. We're singing happy birthday to Miss Bunny." And so everybody started singing, and I was like, "Ah, kind of made my day." Well, it did make my day, because you secretly hope that somebody's going to sing happy birthday to you. And I was like, that would be nice. And then he just led the way. And then he
Yeah.
gave me another big hug. And then all the kids came running up hugging me. See, your kid loves
He loves birthdays. He absolutely. So something switched where he was like, "Oh, this what this about? I'm getting ready to celebrate." Yeah, but I think it really didn't switch to Isaiah. Started kind of pushing it a little bit
Okay.
where
Okay.
he really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So do you see that there are times even now where, he might get overstimulated by some of the
The
Christmas?
lights may overstimulate him a little bit. And now he old enough, he'll just turn it off. He'll turn the tree
Okay.
off. He'll turn
There
it
you
off
go.
himself. The songs are okay, but he it's almost I kind of know like okay, I got to do a little bit and then I kind of got to back off. Got to do
Mm-hmm.
a little I kind of got to back off. So we still like Christmas Eve we usually do pizza
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll do Christmas cookies. He'll eat the pizza and he hasn't touched the cookies yet. He'll look at them but he won't he won't eat them. But he'll do the pizza. So he'll join in that. He watched The Christmas Story with me 1 year.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my favorite movie to watch is The
Like,
Christmas Story. And then I introduced them to which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, the Santa Claus, but the old school Santa Claus, which
mhm.
was
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah.
the old
Oh,
one. So so he's watched that with me a couple times too. So he's getting there. He's
okay.
getting there. Yeah, he's getting there. Yeah.
So you know what? We can jump right into some holiday movie recommendations that you can watch with your super kids,
Yeah.
especially there are some who I honestly think sometimes kids get excited because the parent is excited about Christmas. They
Yeah.
don't particularly care, but okay, yeah, you want to sit and watch something with me? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
So so you've seen a little bit of a change in him with that, even with movies. Are there some that you would recommend for
Well,
families?
okay, so they both do this. I don't know if they do this all the time. So they like, they like The Cosby Show,
Mm-hmm.
Different World, and Family Matters. They like My Wife and Kids. These are all these old school shows. But they'll go
Yeah.
right to the season it's in. So if it's Halloween, they'll watch the Halloween episodes. If it's Thanksgiving,
Okay, that particular episode.
episodes of whatever they're watching. So they like that. Um, they watch The Elf with Will Ferrell. We watched that.
Oh
That's one
yeah.
of our
Oh
favorites.
yeah.
Then I told you about the Santa Claus movie that was in not because they got a lot of Santa Claus. I like the 1985 one though. That was when I was growing up. We liked that one. And then of course, hands down, The Christmas Story.
Oh
Then I
yeah.
have to like talk to Isaiah. Like Isaiah, you can't do that. Like, do not go outside because he had questions. So
Oh no, and lick
is
the
that really
pole.
gonna happen? Yeah, it's gonna happen. Do not do it. You know what
I
I mean?
mean, you got to admit it's tempting to do. I mean,
Oh
I've
my
looked
goodness.
at a pole once in a while, and I was like, nope, I just can't. I can't. It's almost like a dare.
Yes, yes.
That you tell yourself you better not do it. I saw a movie when I was at my sister's in Ohio for Thanksgiving. Uh,
Okay.
and it was a Hallmark movie, and it's called A World Record Christmas, and it
Oh,
featured a kid, a superpower kid, and he wanted to set a world record to bring his family together, and he ended up,
oh,
the town got behind him. He was stacking things, and it was so much more than that, because this is the first one that I've really seen a fully fleshed out character with autism, because you saw his
oh.
relationship with his mom, the estranged relationship with the dad,
Okay.
the good relationship with the dad, with his mom's boyfriend, and then
Mhm.
but you also saw the kid and his first experience with a crush on a girl. So
Oh.
yeah, and it was so realistic. And then when I did a little digging about the movie, I came to find it was based on a true story.
Oh, and it's on Hallmark?
Yeah, it's a Hallmark movie called The World Record Christmas.
Okay, okay,
So I would definitely recommend it. And I watched it with my sister and brother-in-law.
okay.
And they always kind of, save stuff for me if it has anything to do with autism. Hey, you might want to check this out. But we all
Mhm.
watched it and we really, really enjoyed it. And then
Oh, that's cool, okay.
yeah. And we both talked about the movie that starred Holly Robinson Pete, which came
Yes,
out a couple of years ago called Our Christmas Journey. And that
yes.
featured a young man, an autistic actor, Nick Sanchez. So another good Hallmark movie. And if it's not on in their regular rotation this year, I'm sure you can probably find it like on Hulu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But just
Hallmark has the best ones, like, you can I mean,
they
they start at
do.
Thanksgiving and you're like, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah. And
yeah,
I think for some kids, like some kids don't care to see
yes,
other kids with autism on TV, but some
yeah,
kids think, "Oh, I can relate to that kid. He's a little bit like me." And
most
so,
definitely, most
yeah,
definitely.
so
Mhm.
really enjoyed them. Now we know that there are families who are trying to figure out, and even friends of families, what do you buy in terms of toys
Oh my
for
gosh.
what do kids like? I mean, there's no one thing that, hey, this superpower kid likes this, so all superpower kids like this. But
Yep, that's true. That's absolutely true.
there's
That's
certain
that
things.
is absolutely true.
Yeah. What are some of the things that that Neo would just kind of like playing with when he was younger? And now.
So, he was the electronic kid, so he wanted everything electronic.
Hmm.
But the one thing that you're gonna mention that 'cause we're gonna give some recommendations, one of them, and it
Yeah.
was on one of these .coms that we were just gonna talk about later,
Yeah.
the trestle tracks. So the
Yeah.
trestle tracks were the ones where you put the marbles in and you build and see what I couldn't I this is what I couldn't stand. They didn't have it already built.
Oh, see, yeah, you had to put it
So
together.
now you gotta put together. And
Yeah.
so then I'm frustrated because I'm trying to help him, and then he finally, I'm gonna be honest, he built it himself. He was like, "Mom,
Okay.
I said, okay, fine, because I've gotten upset, and then I wanted to play with it. He didn't want me to play with it because
Oh my
it was so
goodness.
kind of like you were kind of in a trance. You put the marble in, and just keep going
Yeah,
down
just
in
kind
the
of
middle.
watching. Man.
So he really enjoyed that in any type of because they had several of those.
Yeah.
He really liked that because I was trying to find something that wasn't electronic.
Okay.
He
Gotcha.
really enjoyed that besides having books.
Yeah. Yeah.
He really enjoyed those trestle tracks though with the marbles.
Cool. We were looking and doing a little research, and I found this site called
Yeah.
fatbraintoys.com. And I love that site. I was on it last night and I was like, oh my God, I have to go to bed. But I kept looking at the videos of the games that the kids were playing. And
Mhm.
I there's one that I'm gonna get it as soon as it gets back in stock because I want to play with it. But one of them is called Peg a Pattern. And it's when I read the reviews, it was a mom who was saying her adult superpower young daughter really
Oh,
likes it because it helps with motor skills. So you're putting these pegs into this peg board and you're
that makes
changing the
sense.
colors of and the wingspan of this peacock. So
Ah.
kind of put me in the mind of when I was a kid, I just liked, stringing beads and making bracelets and whatnot. So it kind of
Okay.
puts me in the mind of that. So
Okay.
that's called Peg a Pattern. Then there's this other one, and I was thinking, man, I would need a lot of room, but I would surely want to get it's Timber Tots Schoolhouse. And this is for,
Mm.
a younger kid, and they don't even necessarily have to be on the spectrum, but there's parts of this tree house that's a school, that's an actual house with a kitchen that's got a slide coming down it, and there's a lot of things that make
Oh.
noises, so you can crank things, and if you crank this thing and it moves the little animal, because there's little animals and birds that are the characters, so you crank up and
Mm.
up this elevator, and then you can take them over to the school. So there's things that spin, there's things that crank, and there's things that pop. So,
Oh,
your kids who are into, those kinds of sounds and watching the animal go down the slide. Now
so
it's
there's
like,
like multiple things going on.
there are,
Okay, okay.
again, it's one that you do have to put together, but
Oh gosh. Okay.
but it could be fun. But now
Okay.
the ultimate one that I'm just gonna get it. I see why it's out of stock right now. It's called air tubes, and it's similar to what you were saying. Um,
Oh.
you put these tubes together, and they're like tunnels for air to pass through, so they can go into swirls. And then there's these felt balls that you release into the chute. You turn on this generator, this generator, and so it forces air through the tubes. So it makes the balls kind of dance around in the tubes, and you can arrange it so it comes out and it goes into another tube and it's spinning around.
So they have that now. Okay, because you know what? We saw those at a couple museums, and Nehemiah loved that.
You
So
can
now you
buy
can actually have them at home.
Yeah,
Cool.
they've been featured on Good Morning America,
Oh,
and on the Today Show.
cool.
That's probably why they're sold out and they're out of stock right now. But I just
Uh,
thought I just kind of kept watching the video and replaying the video, and I was like, man, I gotta get this. 'Cause
oh, that's cool. He would like that.
yeah, they even said that the sound that the engine makes, it's just like this low humming that tends to be a soothing sound for a lot of kids.
Oh,
So, so I guess it does two things. It excites them with the ball, and then it kind of soothes them with the
he
sound of
kind of soothes him with the sound. Okay.
the
Yeah,
generator.
they've had that at a couple museums that we've been to where they've used a ball or they've used like a handkerchief and just kind of threw it
Oh
in there,
yeah,
scooped all
and
the
it
way to
kind
the
of
top,
hover.
and then it hovers.
Cool.
Yes. So they really, both boys actually really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's neat
yeah,
to know. Okay, that's cool. That's
yeah. So yeah, air tubes. But again, I had to sign up to get on their list serve so they can tell me when it's going to be
when
back
it's gonna come.
in
Okay.
back in stock. But I could definitely play with that. So,
Oh yeah.
you mentioned, because we know that Neo, you know, when he was little, he would read, and of
Hmm.
course he'd read the books about himself, because how cool is that? So
Yeah,
and so we've been out at a lot of book fairs, and people do seem to really love the Adventures of Neo.
they do. They
So
do. This is
yeah,
not just a shameless plug. They really like them.
right. They really do. And of course, people can get our books on our Neo site, www.adventuresofneo.com. Um, are there other books that you would recommend, or even some of our books, particular ones of our books that you might recommend for parents and
Um,
families?
well, you can get all of our books, people. All every Neo and the Blue Balloon, Not All
Mhm.
Frogs Are Green, My Very Very Orange Day. And then we're working on for next year, the next one. That's a little
Yeah.
secret. Well, give me a little taste, little
Yeah.
taste. Um, but another one that I was thinking about when we were
Mhm.
preparing for the show, I have been using, I've actually used this with some of my students.
Hmm.
It is social emotional learning for autistic kids. So I've been using that with Neo because it's going over social skills and it's been going over different scenarios
Okay.
so that he can understand. So crossing the street, even though you think, even at
Yeah.
14, but somebody coming up to him and what to do when you go to a bathroom and chores. And so it's they have different levels. They have social emotional learning for autistic kids. They have like part one, they have part two.
Hmm.
So I recommend that because they were interactive and there's different activities in there.
Oh, cool.
So I've been using that actually because you'll be surprised the neurotypical kids need it too. So it's not
Oh,
just
yep. Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So and Neil has actually enjoyed it because I would listeners know I homeschool. And so I've given him a lot of the exercises out there and he's been actually enjoying it. But that's making me kind of prick, especially for the teenage, certain
Mhm.
scenarios that can happen.
Yeah.
Stefan and I want to know, okay, does he know how to do this? Can he
Oh,
handle it? Is there something else do we need to go over? You know what I mean? Just kind of stuff that we may have went over. Does he remember it? And so it gives
mhm.
a lot of, it talks about money, it talks about chores, It gives all these scenarios. He goes into a store, you got $20 and this costs this. What's your change going to be? So it's
Wow.
giving these different scenarios, but it's definitely social emotional driven. So I
That
definitely recommend those.
that'd be a great tool for
Yeah.
like you said, for any parent.
For any
Really,
parent.
any
Yes.
parent to deal
Yes.
with it because I think we take for granted that kids know how to do things, and
Yes.
I've been struck by the kids in my GED class. They'll look at the clock and it's not digital, and they'll ask me what time it is. I'm like,
Ah,
oh.
whoa. Yeah.
So this is an
Yep.
18-year-old who doesn't know how to look at a clock with the hour hand and the minute
Yep.
hand and the second hand. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yep. You're
Add
absolutely
that to
right.
the system. So we can't take anything for granted.
No, we can't. You cannot. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I've got a couple of books that I would recommend.
Hmm.
One of them is called How to Be Autistic. And it was
Oh,
written by a young woman named Charlotte Amelia Poe. And
okay.
she is autistic. She wrote this as an autistic teenager. And
Okay.
and it's a little bit sarcastic, it's a little bit funny. But as she's discovering things about herself, I think that's what made her decide to write the book. Like, okay,
Um,
you may think you know about me because you're attaching all these labels to me, but this is the real me.
this is
And
okay.
this
Okay.
is a little quirky, and I think she wrote it to not only help people to understand her, but help her to understand herself as well. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, it's called How to Be Autistic. And then another one that I would recommend is called How Can I Talk If My Lips Don't Move?
Oh,
Um,
I love that title.
and it's by Tito Rajashi Mukhopadhyay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from India. He was
Okay.
diagnosed with autism at 3 years old, and he was low functioning and nonverbal. Uh,
Mm.
his mother was so determined, like, look, I'm going to work with you. You are going to talk. What he actually did was he started writing before
Oh,
the language came. The language came to him in writing, and so he's written several books now. He's in his mid 30s now. Uh,
okay.
but he really talks a lot about his journey and how his mom helped him, and for us not to really attach those stigmas to people with superpowers who don't have the language skills, because it certainly doesn't mean that they don't have the intellectual
Yep.
capacity.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Very true. That's very
beautiful
true.
book, and like you said, the title is so, it just really
That
says
draws you in. That reels you in. Yeah. Yeah.
it really does.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to mention is when you were talking about, Neo then and Neo now, and there
Hmm.
and I think, because I'm fortunate to get to see him a lot. So I've seen some of those changes. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think, even when you did your Instagram reel, when you were, you didn't shy away from Christmas because it's something that
Yeah.
you love. And
Yeah.
so I think he gradually, whether he loves it now because he loves you, I don't know. But I asked him to take a part in this, doing this Christmas poem and singing the Christmas
Oh,
carols in the
okay.
show that we're doing next week. And I
Okay.
said, okay, so here's your line. Are you going to do it? So he was in the gym and the other kids were in the classroom. And so I went to get him, and he had his headphones on, and he was, looking at his phone and looking like a typical teenager. And I said, Neo, you got to do your line. He's like, what line? I said, the line in the poem. And he says, okay, give me the line. But then when he went in, and the kids were lined up and they were all doing theirs, and some of them were kind of fumbling through them, and some of them were doing an okay job. And
Okay.
he got up there and he just nailed it with all of this enthusiasm and excitement.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like, wow.
Wow.
Wow. And he said, so I got to do this on December 14th, right? And I was like, yep. And he's like, at 4 o'clock? I said, yes. So he's going to remind me and remind you every day. And he's probably going to be doing his line, because I mean, he just, he just nailed it. And so,
Okay.
I think, for families who may think, oh, you know what, the holidays aren't the same because my kid is neurodiverse, because he doesn't seem to get it and he doesn't seem to feel the joy. I would say, you know what, you just keep having that joy, and he may pop out and start busting out some Christmas carols.
Yeah.
You just never.
100% agree. Don't cut it. Don't shut it off. Like, do not shut it. That's what I think I said on my Wednesday reel, was like,
Mhm.
just keep the atmosphere around. They're gonna come around. It's gonna come around. Now, I may not love it like you said. He may not ever love it like I do. But I think if you keep it around long enough, he's gonna find something out of there, like you said, that he does like
Yeah.
about it. And so yeah, don't shut it out of your life because it's not worth, like, you got to find something to celebrate in it, because it's not because they're not feeling it
It's
at
just,
that time.
yeah. Yeah.
At that time.
So what are you and your family looking forward to this Christmas season?
So we usually always, because Neil's birthday is a week before Christmas, so we always go somewhere. So we're going to go somewhere again for that week that my husband's always off that week
Hmm.
of Christmas until after New Year's, listeners. So, and I'm off because I teach. So we're going to go somewhere, a museum probably. I think we may even try the Indiana Museum, because
Oh, yeah.
Neil went before and he's seen some pictures, but he did not enjoy it. He was really overstimulated. We actually had to leave early.
Okay.
So I'm thinking now that he's a little bit older, we're going to try, because he's seen something that he liked. And I was like, to myself, I was like, he didn't remember that he didn't like this and it was a meltdown. But so I think we may need to try it again, because he did see it and it's older. So we may try to, that may be one of the places we go to try to see. Um, so we are very much looking forward to that. And looking forward to just some resting. They
Yeah.
really didn't. Neil, what's interesting, and I was thinking about this. I had to get my mammogram yesterday,
Hmm.
and the lady the nurse was saying how her kid's a teenager, and she's like, they really didn't ask for nothing. Like, you remember when you get older, because when
Yeah.
you were little, you had all these toys, and I don't remember they were having commercials on TV, and you would get the
Hmm.
JCP Kenny log set to the house, and you would circle which one you wanted when you were a kid. And she was saying, she says, you know what, ma'am? She's like, I'm just like, they're not even asking for anything. And that's kind of how Neil is. He wants a couple of things, but it's not like it was when
Yeah.
I was growing up. I
That's
had,
a
what I
whole
mean?
list. Well, I know we could go on and on, but we are about at the end. But
Oh my
one of
God.
the things that of course we wish to our listeners and viewers is just a peaceful, beautiful holiday
Oh, yes.
season.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes. Very
absolutely.
peaceful, beautiful, safe. Have fun, relax. I know it's a lot going on in the world, but take this time to rest and have fun. And yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes.
It's a great way to end the show. So,
Yes.
thanks for joining us, and we will catch you again soon.
Bye bye. Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.